Hi scholars, it's Miss Lustig, your favorite U.S. history teacher. I am just going to briefly explain the handout you picked up. It says the Unit 1 performance task. Go ahead and pause me and pull this out and have this in front of you with a pencil or pen as we go through it. So, the Unit 1 performance task, right here. Every unit we're going to have a project called a performance task. It's worth a test grade, so doing well on it is a really good way to boost your grade. Now, for Unit 1, this performance task is due for everyone September 21st, no matter if you have me on A day or B day, and I'll talk about how that works in a minute. Here's the goal of this task. You are going to write a letter back to your family or friends back home in England, explaining why your family decided to settle in a certain colonial region, either the New England, Middle, or Southern colonies, instead of settling in one of the other two regions or moving back to England. Describe how life is different, aka better, compared to the other colonial region and to England. Here's your role. You are playing the role of a colonist in the New England, Middle, or Southern colonies. So one region, you live in one region. You're convincing your family that your new life is as nice as LeBron James's new Brentwood house in LA, and you're going to use the documents to support your claim. So right now, pause me and decide which region you're going to choose to live in. Once you do, circle the region you're going to do. Okay, here's your audience. Your extended family or your friends in England. That's who you're writing to. So like your estranged second cousin, twice removed, whoever. Whoever you want. Jimmy, I don't care. Who you want to write to is up to you. The tone of your writing depends on who your audience is. Remember that the tone means the tone of your voice, not what you say, but how you say it. So how you write to your great aunt is going to be a little different than how you write to your best friend. Here's your situation. You have been living in the region of the English colonies, the one that you circled up above, in North America for all of your life. Your sweet mother has been bothering you to get off your bum and to get in touch with your roots by communicating with your extended family back in England. Mostly just to make her stop bugging you so you can play Fortnite. Just kidding, they didn't have that back then. But you decide to write this family that you've never met before to explain to them what life is like in America. They're thinking about moving from England to the colonies in America where you live. You are trying to convince them to move from England to your region. To convince them, you need to explain why your way of life in the new world is in as much detail as possible. Here's your product. Your letter must be typed or neatly handwritten. So you can either submit it on Google Classroom under the assignments, or you could handwrite it in black ink. No pink pens, no gel pens, no markers, black ink, and no pencil, okay? Letters should be in complete sentences, free from grammatical errors, factually correct, and written in distinct paragraphs. Letters should obviously not be your first draft. Assignments that are not legible, meaning I can't read it because it's too messy, written in pencil or not presentable, like it's crumpled up or stained or messy, they're not going to be accepted. I also put a checklist right here. These are things that your letter needs to include, so let's look at this. Your letter must include at least 5 clear paragraphs. So you need an introduction paragraph, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion paragraph. You need to have a proper letter greeting. So, Dear George, comma, write your letter, sincerely your best friend Joe, or whoever you're writing to, and then sincerely. If you do not know how to properly address a letter, come talk to me and I will help you out. You need to tell me which specific colony you live in the first paragraph. Make sure it matches your identity and which colonial region you're in. So don't switch, like say you live in Massachusetts in the New England colonies, don't switch halfway and live in Virginia in the Southern colonies while you're writing. Stay consistent. For example, in your first paragraph, your intro paragraph, you should have this sentence in there. I live in blank, which is in the New England, Middle, or Southern colonies region. So whichever one it is. Because remember, like if I said, what state are you from? You wouldn't tell me I'm from the South, right? You tell me you're from Texas. A region is different than the colony. The colonies are within different regions. Here's an example. I live in Massachusetts, which is in the New England region. If you can't remember your regions, pull out your colonies map and check that out and find a colony and the right region. Then you're going to tell me why you chose to live in that colony versus the others. Consider your background. For example, If you were a Dutchman living in New York, you would explain that you settled there to hunt and trade for fur. You need to tell me also pegs. So what life is like politically in your colony. Economics, what you do for a living, how you make your money, what other types of jobs are available, the economy, and how the environment influenced you to do this profession. Universal truth number 2. G, geography, what the climate, aka the weather and geography are like compared to the other regions. And then S, what life is like socially, so day-to-day living and religion and things. Remember, you guys, you're trying to convince whoever you're writing to that they should move to your specific region. So if you choose the New England colonies, you need to tell me why the New England colonies are better than the middle colonies, the southern colonies, and staying in England. Okay, so now let's show you how I'm going to grade you on this assignment. So if you go through this packet, first things first, there are certain approaches to learning skills. Because like I told you guys at the beginning of the year, as the year goes on, we're going to start doing this extensive research project. And so we need to build skills so that we're ready for that and prepared to do well. So there are 2 approaches to learning skills called ATLs that we're focusing on for this particular performance task. The first one is being able to read critically for comprehension. You should not have to do extra research for this particular performance task. Using your guided notes and your reading packets from class is enough. If you want to do extra research, that's totally cool, that's awesome, but make sure you cite that information too. Additionally, we're going to work on making connections between various sources of information. So you need to look at all the readings you've done and all the guided notes and be able to compare and contrast the regions. Here are the criteria I'm going to be grading you on. It's called A and C. So A stands for knowledge and understanding. You are going to be graded on a scale from 0 to 8. 8 is the highest you can get. On this left-hand column, this is the basic descriptor. So this is the basic expectation. So for instance, a 1 is the student makes limited use of terminology, so using vocab, demonstrates basic knowledge of understanding, but limited descriptions with examples. Now, on the right-hand side is this translated for this project. So this is where you should focus, the right-hand side. Okay, this is the task-specific stuff. So a 1 would be shows limited understanding of the political, economic, geographic, and social factors of the region you chose. And you show basic research on the specific regions. So basically you don't have a lot of detail or you don't show me that you understand. Jumping up to a 7 or an 8, the highest marks you can get, this is when you consistently show understanding of the pegs and make a range of connections accurately. So not only are you explaining each region, you're making connections between them and comparing and contrasting. Additionally, you show detailed research on specific regions of the pegs and draw connections that are accurate and developed between each. Again, this research can be from the class readings or you can do research on your own. The second rubric I'm looking at is communicating. This one is all about how your stuff is, your project or performance task is organized and structured and presented. So a 1, if you look on this right-hand side, means you have a really weak thesis, or it's not even there. And your organization is very, very weak. Maybe you don't have paragraphs, or you inconsistently cite things if you're using different sources. Jumping up to an 8, this is where you completely have appropriate thesis statement, and you have completely appropriate organization. So if there's a main argument in each body paragraph, there's a CER format, you always cite your sources, so that's what a full credit will give you. So as you guys are going through this performance task, I want you to take a minute and carefully look over these rubrics because this is what I'm looking at when I grade you. So by the time you're done with your project, you should know what you're going to get without me even having to grade it. So if you want 100, aim for that 100. If you have any questions about this project, last thing, submitting it. You can either submit it on Google Classroom under the Assignments tab under the Unit 1 Performance Task. It's due by 11:59 p.m. on September 21st. So you have 2 weeks to work on it, so there's no excuse. Or you can submit it to me by hand during transition periods or in the morning on September 21st. After 11:59 p.m. on September 21st, everything's late. All right, well, if you have any questions, let me know. Good luck. I think you guys are going to do great. Yeah, bye-bye.